Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen. We had a huge info drop over the weekend from the recent Beijing Bar Citizen. John Crew was there and they had a pre-recorded special episode of Not Star Citizen Live with John Crew. Then an actual panel with John Crew, and loads of people were asking him questions at the Bar Citizen as well. So this video is a summary of all of that. With that in mind, take it all with big pinches of salt, because some of this has been translated back and forth a couple of times, or based on other people sharing what they said they heard during the event. Also, at time of recording, the official episode has not seen a wider release or anything. I've dug around and tried to find where there have been corrections, and even like John Crew has actually clarified some stuff afterwards. So this is a summary of the Bar Citizen there, the panel that they had, and that not live Star Citizen Live. Oh yeah, this is chock full of potential spoilers, and I would say leaks, but they're not leaks. They're just, spoilers and stuff that was talked about at the Bar Citizen. New ships and vehicles. Some that are incoming, some updates. There are more ground vehicles coming, combat hover vehicles, a mobile base, and new types. They're working towards improving ground vehicle gameplay systems and giving more reasons to use ground vehicles in the future. So yeah, we know that they're going to be things like you're harder to detect, or you've got to approach a base in a particular way, or there's atmospheric hazards, things like that will prevent you from using ships. The Javelin will come fully armed and equipped. The sort of civilian model, the one that people have bought with real money, and the one that you're assuming to be able to buy in game. So it's basically flight ready rather than entirely stripped of all components or anything. That I believe the original sort of idea was that's what it was going to be, but obviously that's changed. I believe it's not going to be full of the top grade military components though, so bear that in mind. They may do some large updates for the older ships like the Caterpillar and Reclaimer. They don't want to rebuild them though, unless absolutely necessary, but expect to see some relatively big updates for those ships in the future, and we might see some more Mark II versions of ships turn up as well. They talked about a RSI Meteor. This was teased as coming out later this year. This could be the Mantis Heavy Strike Fighter, but apparently I saw some updates on this that someone had said that it was a high-speed fighter, so we'll have to wait and see. The Perseus is based on some of the more military stylings for RSI, but is not coming with Fleet Week. However, it is planned to be flyable and released for the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo in November later this year, and they apparently have made updates to its massive size 7 weapons, making them size 8, as well as giving the ship a suite of PDCs, the point defense systems. Apparently the Apollo is planned to be flyable at the IAE as well, and that's going to make a lot of people happy, wanting that medical ship, although I'd heard that they were redoing some of the internals of it, so again, take this all with pinches of salt. The Galaxy will follow after the Perseus, apparently, and the Galaxy has an interior more based on the sort of more civilian ships like the Zeus from RSI, rather than their more military sort of looking ones. The Apollo's in active development. They said, obviously, if it's coming out potentially later this year, a consolidated Outland medium ship is in the works. There's a cruiser/battleship also being made that's going to be larger than the Javelin, and this might be Aegis, Anvil, or RSI that takes ownership of that. People asked when the Idris P would be out, and would it be out for Fleet Week? John Crew was apparently evasive and basically said, you'll find out at Invictus. Now, some people are seeing this as a sort of tease and a confirmation of a release at Fleet Week, but the answer is that we don't know, and whatever happens, that statement is true from John Crew, right? You'll find out during Fleet Week. It is possible that it will come out, though. This is also potentially John Crew just lightly trolling. It was at a Bar Citizen. It might have just been an off the sort of cuff or attempt at being funny. It's harder to tell without greater context, right? There is some updates the Idris will be getting when Squadron 42 releases, though, as well. There's like a slightly updated model for Squadron. There's a large interceptor planned as well. Potentially, that could be the Meteor. There was some other information about ships that are paused or not in active development. So the Legionnaire, Zeus MR, and Genesis Starliner, as well as the Spirit E1, are all currently paused until more gameplay is ready for them. So being able to carry people more readily as sort of like a career role, and assumedly bounty hunting type gameplay or expansions to that. They said no Pioneer this year as well. The Kraken might get a concept update and then go into pre-production by the end of 2025. The Pegasus escort carrier is not planned for Squadron 42 Episode 1. The Nautilus is not in active production. They want to sort out its gameplay before it does, and then when it does go into production, it will have some updated concept passes and stuff like that to bring it in line with current standards. The Vandal Cleaver, seen in Squadron 42, is not planned to be flyable by us, at least not yet. And the 600i rework is still apparently in the concept stage and is currently paused. This is different to what I had originally heard. Well, I say originally had heard a little while ago, but this is more up-to-date information. There are some new ship weapons and ship weapon updates that are coming over from Squadron 42 to the Persistent Universe as well. They are trying to make sure there are a full range of sizes of the current types of weapons before adding loads more types or anything like that. However, they did imply a couple of times that beam weapons were going to be a thing, maybe even this year, with John Crew saying this is the year for beam weapons. Ballistic weapons will be able to be reloaded with magazines, either internally or externally based on the ship, and there's going to be internal loaders and areas of cargo that you can put ammo and then it sort of gets fed into the ship's magazines or whatever. Some ships will be able to have missiles and PDCs loaded by this method as well. There's going to be different types of thing you can put on missile hardpoints that aren't just missiles, it sounds like. I suspect this is going to be PDCs, but it could also be utility stuff, it could be other weapons, it could be fuel storage, it could be a lot of different stuff. I believe we're going to start seeing things like this for Fleet Week, along with things like flak PDCs. Apparently they're coming as well, typically used by larger capital ships versus fighters and sort of missiles and torpedoes, things that are highly evasive or very hard to hit. And yeah, you'll see some ships updated with these in the future as well. Torpedoes are getting a minimum range before arming. That's, I think, pretty cool to hear about. I do want torpedoes to be really useful in game, but they're going to sort of want to get them into their intended role at some point. Man turrets are going to get more buffs to make them better at shooting smaller ships, assuming that they have appropriate anti-fighter weaponry. They're expanding out weapons for this purpose as well. You are going to be able to earn top-tier components and weapons for your ships purely through PvE combat as well, which is good to hear. I'm hoping we get a cool dynamic economy and player-influenced economy where you can list items that you want to sell like that and be able to sell them for big profit if it's like something rare. The Maelstrom damage system is apparently 70% complete for Squadron 42's needs and will eventually come into the Persistent Universe. The system is focused around damage on specific key ships first, and they will need to set it up for more ships, obviously, when it goes into the Persistent Universe, although their tooling allows them to do this relatively quickly. This should make capital and large ship combat much more interesting as well, along with engineering, subcomponents, and subsystem targeting, tankier, heavier capital ships that can shake off damage. Squadron 42 uses weight and physics based on materials as part of this system, as part of Maelstrom. Currently in the Persistent Universe, this is a sort of stats and spreadsheet based, but it will move over to Maelstrom for everything like that. Also, mass, cargo, damage, customizations, and distribution of weight on your ship is going to be a bit of a puzzle in the future, or sort of have more dramatic effects both in space and in atmosphere in the way that your ship flies, handles, and can potentially prevent you from leaving atmosphere and stuff like that more readily. I really like the idea of mass being a lot more important. Capital ships are getting more balancing. Big ships are going to be, slow and heavy. That's what they want them to be. They're supposed to be massive and tanky. The Idris, Javelin, etc. are also going to be updated with that in mind. Capital ships like the Javelin, for example, as well, will be more resistant or immune almost to smaller weapons fire. So below size 4 weapons pretty much having no effect. Size 4 having a sort of reduced effect, and size 5 is where the sweet point is for where you start to take damage normally from them. It's going to be interesting to see if there's still going to be weak points like turrets and subsystems that you'll be able to target with those smaller arms fire. I say arms fire, smaller weapons fire. Capital ship shields are also going to be able to regenerate even while getting hit. They're only going to sort of stop regenerating if they take damage above a certain threshold. So smaller caliber weapons probably won't even pew the shields enough to stop them regenerating. The Idris M is going to have better armor than the Idris P. Massive ships like the Javelin won't have hangars they fit in. They're going to have to be docking to specialist facilities. The Polaris is going to be getting some updates as well. some other ship and vehicle information. What determines if a ship is going to have a hab and living quarters and stuff like that. Longer range ships need beds, kitchens, showers, toilets, like that. Luxury ships, it's nice for them to have larger quarters and facilities. Military ships are going to have those facilities, but they're sort of more optimal use of space and range. So if it's a short range ship, doesn't need an interior, doesn't need those things, but if it's a longer range one, well, they're going to want to have them, but they might be Spartan. In the future, you might be able to eat and drink from a seat, and hygiene is going to be a thing, so there are reasons you might want to shower on board. Drop seats, places for your Marines and Assault Marines to chill out and sit on. They're going to have a lot more functionality in the future. They'll keep you from falling over, but also if the gravity goes out, they're going to keep you stable, stuff like that. It sounds like they want to make drop ships better as well, more tanky, and give them a better value proposition for them and the Marines that are on board. Ship modules, like for flyable ships, modules for the Galaxy or whatever, they're going to be earnable and buyable in game, but they are probably going to follow the same exclusivity period that a ship would have of around 3 to 4 months after they've been released to flyable. At least at the moment. We'll see what happens once Star Citizen 1.0 releases, and if they still are going with that cadence or not. It sounds like remote access to locked and open doors and ships and ramps and stuff like that on the Mobiglass is still planned. Ships will be nameable in the near future as well. More specifically, it sounded like all the ships will be nameable, and that might replace the serial number stuff. We'll have to wait and see. When I say replace it, what I mean is if you've named your ship, you can display your name rather than your serial number. That's what it sounds like to me anyway. Missions are being designed specifically for capital ships. If you've got a capital ship, you'll be able to use them for some missions that are scaled for them, as it were. Breaching of ships is getting some updates as well, so it may be harder to break into doors, and there might be some more specialist stuff for that. AI blades are coming in the future as well, after the flight blades, which are turning up at Fleet Week. There's going to be AI blades in the future. However, the PDCs sound like they're getting a lot of similar functionality to what people wanted for AI blades if they are PDCs that they auto-fire. A few other little bits and bobs as well. Completing Squadron 42 will apparently give you a mystery small ship as a reward. I think there's lots of other stuff that you unlock throughout your Squadron 42 journey that you can use, or you will have access to be able to buy in game from playing and completing Squadron. Elevators, they're planned to be faster. They are going to have other ways for players to be able to get access to the Million Mile High Club exclusive area that was given access for 1,042 actually referrals on the referral scheme. So yeah, we know that they're updating that referral scheme as well. 2025 is apparently focusing on Squadron 42 polish, persistent universe performance, playability and stability with a monthly patch cadence that supports faster iteration, more content and balance, and they're very happy with the way it's going. It also sounded like additional gameplay packages that you have on your account. So if you've bought multiple ships that have digital downloads of Star Citizen effectively, then they're still going to give you something additional for that. It sounded like potentially an additional character slot is still planned, or something like that. We'll have to wait and see. And the last thing I have written down here is, in space, criminals will be hunted by UE and Javelin, and fleet responses potentially. That sort of thing can happen at the higher levels of criminality in safer space. I don't want high-level criminals to be able to get into safe space very well, so having good responses which then go and deal with them, great. Jump in, dampen them, and take them out. Boom! That was it for all the details and bits and bobs that I had for that Bar Citizen and that big info drop. Super excited for a lot of that stuff. A lot of people think that the Idris is going to be turning up during Fleet Week. I think it's possible the Idris might. It is possible. I also think it's possible that a ATLS Titan combat suit could turn up as well. But I'm really interested to know if there's anything I missed in that. If there is, chuck it down below. If you want rampant speculation, you chuck that down below in the comments as well. You want to go to nordvpn.com/BoredGamer or use the links below. Get some great discounts on NordVPN. Maybe you want an Tobii eye tracker or one of the new THRUSTMASTER sticks. Links down below to that as well. It makes you a happier, more complete human being by buying stuff. Also helps out the channel. So, that's great as well, isn't it? May is about fleets, lots of dogfighting, flying with friends, and once again we've partnered with the Lunar Wolves, a Star Citizen organisation looking for recruits. Maybe you might be an appropriate fit. You can check the recruitment page for them down below. But we're giving away a fleet of ships. Commenting on any of my videos during the month of May gets lots of different lucky winners. The chance to win a Constellation Andromeda, a F7C Super Hornet Mark II, a Redeemer, and a Cutlass Black. Each winner will win one of those. those, courtesy of the Lunar Wolves. But wait, there is more. The Lunar Wolves are also giving away an RSI Polaris with lifetime insurance to one of their new recruits. Winners of that particular ship will be selected randomly from eligible org signups, but the rest of those ships, they're given away on my channel entirely, so you just need to comment on any of my videos to be in for a chance of winning. Lunar Wolves welcome all who share their passion for adventure and love of Star Citizen, and you can find out more about them on the lunarwolves.org webpage as well. If you would like to further support the channel, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, all that sort of good stuff. We've got join buttons under videos that help support the channel as well. You get some exclusive videos that are going out now. They've got Patreon, which basically does the same. We make daily Star Citizen content here, and that's partly due to the people that go the extra mile and help out the channel. I hope you have a fantastic May, a fantastic Fleet Week, and a great Star Citizen Alpha 4.1.1 experience.